Isn't it
Thank you,
gorgeous?
Okay, so with that introduction, Eitan, please start us off for the evening.
Oh, real piano.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eitan. Yeshua kochacha.
My pleasure. And Rabbi, thank you for the opportunity to let me do this.
There may be more opportunities. But that
In
is
the
another
summer.
thank you for reminding me, is that next week, we do have Havdalah planned online, but then we're taking a little hiatus. So we'll announce a resumption time, believe it, at some point. But Eitan, I'm curious, so what time did Shabbos end in New York today?
6:50.
Just a little bit earlier than here.
Yeah.
Okay, Havdalah. הנה אל ישועות יפתח לו אחד כי עוזי בזמרת אדוני ויהי לי ישועה ושתה מים בששון ממי ישועה לאדוני הישועה על עמך בחתך סלע אדוני צבאות עמנו משגב לנו העקב סלע אדוני צבאות אשרי אדם בוטח בך אדוני הושיע המלך יעננו ויום קראנו ליהודים היתורה ושמחה וששון ויקרא כן תהיה לנו כוש ישועת עשו ובשם אדוני אקרא סברי מנן רבנן רבותיי ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא מיני בשמים ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא מאורי האש ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המבדיל בין קודש לחול בין אור לחושך בין ישראל לעמים בין יום השביעי לששת ימי המעשה ברוך אתה אדוני המבדיל בין קודש לחול Shavua Tov again. I did make the Havdalah on grape juice, but it was not the grape juice that was given out today. Those who were in shul this morning, we had to take away kiddush, a few items, including a little bottle of grape juice and a nice white little shopping bag. So yeshkech to those organizers, and nice to have that little enjoyment for Shabbos and what was Erev Rosh Chodesh. So here is a little halachic story that at least the first part of it we can relate to. And that is being in shul for an ufruf. What a great occasion to be able to see a chassan be called up to the Torah, maybe other family members being in shul, and they will wish a mazel tov. And the widespread custom is to, right, throw some candies. Now, when you see somebody going back like that, you need to be worried, right? And if at least one of my friends at his office, he put on a baseball hard hat, I thought until sharing this story here, I thought it was mostly a little bit of a joke. But on this particular story, when the people started to throw the candy, so a woman who was in a balcony, maybe she had some extra force of gravity working with it, she threw a candy that hit the gabbai right on his glasses and broke his glasses. And the gabbai is claiming...
These are true stories.
True story. I wasn't the gabbai, Baruch Hashem. But the gabbai says he wants compensation. He wants replacement of his glasses by the woman who threw the candy. The woman is an Ada woman. She says, if the halacha is that I have to pay, then I'll pay. But if not, then who's doing what everybody else was doing? I wasn't trying to hit you. So, I'm going to share with you two halachas. One, I've mentioned it at least once, and probably over the years a few times. But there is a principle that says Adam muad liolam. That a human being, since we're thinking human beings, as long as we're conscious, we're responsible for our actions. We could even be responsible for actions during our sleep. If when I went to sleep, let's say I went to lie down on a blanket on a public lawn, and when I went down, there were other people doing the same thing, or sitting, and they had different objects that they were for their picnic or whatever it is. And if I noticed when I went to sleep that somebody had, let's say, a ceramic vase, that they wanted to make a nice environment, so they brought a vase with flowers in it for their picnic lunch. And I saw that I put my blanket close to them, and that maybe if I were to stretch, while I was napping, I could knock over that vase. And if indeed that happened, even though I was sleeping and I knocked into that vase, then I would be responsible, because at the time that I went to sleep, I saw the vase was there. So I should have taken more precaution. And if I didn't want to tie myself up, then I should have moved my blanket over a little bit, or maybe ask the people if they want to move the vase, but something. So the general principle is that we as human beings have a very high level of responsibility for our actions and can be held accountable to make restitution when we cause damage. However, listen to this halacha in the Shulchan Aruch. Just sort of bring it in front of me. The comment that's most important is in very small print, but it's very important. So here in the halachas of nizikin, of damages, the Mechaber says as follows: You know how we have fender benders sometimes? So in the time of the Shulchan Aruch, they were having a mule-to-mule bender. So somebody crashes his donkey into the donkey in front of him, and it causes damage. Halacha has made it very easy for civil society. There are so many cases that halacha covers that civil secular societies can have a tremendous treasury in Jewish halacha to check out, to help develop laws of society. So you have this fender bender between the mules. So if damage was caused to the mule in front and it was the fault of the guy behind, so they'd have to make assessment, was there any permanent type of damage? Is the value of the mule gone down, at all? So that's the main halacha. Then adds the Rama, Bachurim harochvim lekrat chatan v'kala. So this is a few days after our ufruf, or a week or whatever it might be. But here the Rama talks about that there was a minhag that the friends of the chassan and the kala would ride on donkeys going out to greet them. So they're on their donkeys to celebrate the chuppah that just took place, and people are happy and they're singing and they're maybe flapping their hands, etc. During this type of celebration, they cause some damage one to the other. Maybe somebody accidentally had a pen in his hand. He was going to write a check to the new couple, and he's like waving his hand with the pen, and he goes ahead and writes on the shirt of the guy next to him, and it's not going to come out of the white shirt, or whatever else might have happened. So the Ramah says that since it's derech simcha, that since this was an acceptable way to demonstrate the happiness and to generate happiness for the chassid and the kala, that there's no fiscal liability here. They're potter from payment. Mikol makov inira lebeitin la'asot siyag v'geder harishut biyadav. But if it gets out of hand, beitin can decide not to allow it, or to set up halachas, social distancing, between the donkeys or whatever it might be, or between the dances. But if they're doing what the minhag is, so if there should result, people obviously should be careful. But if they are being careful, then there's no damage. So if this lady was just throwing her candy and it just happened to hit the weak spot in the frame, or because of where she was on the balcony, which is where she was supposed to be, there was extra force that came down, so she's off the hook. But if she said, that guy, he didn't give my husband an aliyah last week, this is my chance to get him, then she'd be responsible. But if she does it in the way that people normally would do it, then there would be no damages. So watch your aim. There are people with the ufruf. You look around the room, there are people at ufrufs who are wrapping up. The smart families do jelly candies, right? So
I don't think we have to worry about it though.
We've had I think one or two ufrufs in our shul. We had a bar mitzvah in our shul.
We've had bar mitzvahs.
You're not second bar mitzvahs.
A
real bar mitzvah we had. One of our members had his grandson in shul for his bar mitzvah. Right here at Torah Or. You can imagine once our building is finished and we have a catering hall, that we might even have a lot more of those. Who knows?
Wow.
Everybody put your reservations in now.
Right.
Yeah.
You can also unmute if you want. I wish you again, Shavua Tov, Chodesh Tov.
Shavua Tov, Kol Tov.